We all know Stan has kept many CIA secrets over the years, but there's one thing he cannot keep away from American Dad fans: the secrets and facts we've unloaded for you today. Learn about some of Roger's secret backstory, the health problems the Smith family deals with, and why one character may stay silent forever. Now show us your patriotic pride and step right up for some great and surprising American Dad facts and trivia. Animated shows who have been on the air for as long as American Dad sure have a lot of milestones to celebrate. Getting each new season feels like a celebration, especially for a show that was nearly canceled off the air before TBS swooped in and saved the Smith family from enjoying new adventures forever. One of the show's biggest celebrations was the 150th episode, entitled Lost in Space. Only the huge celebration was a little too late. Lost in Space is actually the 151st episode to air, and in even more confusion, the episode was promoted to show Roger's home planet when it was merely just a spaceship featuring his alien species. Maybe Fox didn't count the pilot, or got confused after counting so many episodes of The Simpsons, Family Guy, or Bob's Burgers as well. As absurd as American Dad can get, the show still draws from a pretty emotional core and has the ability to connect with audiences besides just making them laugh. Case in point, the episode entitled Stan's Best Friend. Stan gets attached to a small beagle, but tragedy strikes. Instead of the stereotypical car hitting the puppy, the dog named Kisses gets struck down by pirate cats operating a hot air balloon. Instead of just letting go, Stan resorts to some pretty crazy surgery, completely transforming the puppy into some sort of reconstructed monster. In the end, Stan must say goodbye to his beloved pet, and the story of letting go of the extended part of a family was actually taken from a writer. Jonathan Fenner was grieving the loss of his own dog at the time, and used the sad story to help heal. Roger cannot only disguise himself to look like other humans, but he has the innate ability to complete a number of other impressive activities, including running at high speeds or playing the drums. Besides having great intelligence and a huge brain, Roger is missing something humans usually have: bones. That's right, even though he can hold his neck up pretty well, the slouchy body and thick skin has no bones on the inner core. Obviously, there's some type of alien DNA and body mass keeping the creature together, but you wouldn't see much if he went through an X-ray machine. American Dad relies on a great voice cast filled with seasoned professionals, and of course, Seth Macfarlane lending his vocal talents. Another voice which may sound familiar on the show, Dee Bradley Baker. Not only did Baker change the accent of Klaus from French to German, but this is not his first time voicing a creature from the sea. Baker provided the vocal tracks and sound effects for Perry the Platypus, and he also voiced numerous characters on SpongeBob SquarePants. There seems to be something aquatic about the way he is able to play creatures who love the water. Of course, the German accent on Klaus definitely helps differentiate between the goldfish and other sea life roles. For years, fans have been comparing both Family Guy and American Dad. Of course, anyone who actually dives deep into the seasons of both shows knows how different they are. Early seasons of American Dad were getting a little too close to the Family Guy format, especially with the introduction of the talking koala named Reginald. Much like Klaus, Reginald had his brain transplanted into a koala and was featured in multiple misadventures after his season 4 debut. Then suddenly, the koala disappeared. Well, the decision to cut the koala out of the picture actually had to do with Family Guy. Brian the Talking Dog was a trademark element of the show, so adding the koala to the fish and alien proved just a tad too much, and Reginald got sent off to greener pastures. For many people, one of the greatest characters on American Dad is Roger, the alien who lives and hides out with the Smith family. As a knock on older sitcoms, Roger's role with the family was supposed to be inspired directly from Alf. The live-action show featured an alien puppet who had to stay hidden from others in the house he stayed in. Writers quickly realized how beloved Roger was and didn't want to limit the character's chance to explore the world outside of the Smith home, so the rules of Alf were quickly abandoned. Roger got a huge wardrobe, and the show's ability to create stories and plots changed dramatically. Not only was Roger's story supposed to be inspired by Alf, but it had a multi-season arc planned out. In the unused story, Roger would get discovered, become famous, and then people would quickly bore of the exposed alien. Roger would then set out on a mission of self-discovery as he tried to propel himself to fame once again. Of course, things didn't go this way, and it ended up being all the better because of it. Now Roger gets to go on all types of misadventures without anyone knowing there's an alien under the various wigs and outfits. X-Men and Star Trek actor Patrick Stewart has spent a whole career playing serious roles, so it was pretty surprising when he signed up for a recurring role as CIA Director Bullock and led to some of the more memorable episodes and gags. It seemed like there wasn't a line Stewart wouldn't cross in the adult comedy, but there was a point where he refused to record a line. In one of the earlier seasons, the writers made a joke about Bullock's interest in children. Stewart was not a fan of the line. Not only did he not envision this for the character, but he refused to say the line and requested a change. The line was dropped, and thankfully we never have to consider Bullock's dark secret. For die-hard American Dad fans, the holiday season didn't feel complete without watching the 2013 episode, Minstrel Krampus. The holiday musical puts a clever spin on Christmas, Beauty and the Beast, and spoiled children. The whole crazy adventure all leads up to an ultra-violent finale with a gun-toting Santa. The campiness and craziness is normal for the show, but the original scheduled air date had horrible timing. Just days before the Minstrel Krampus episode was scheduled to air in 2012, the Sandy Hook school shooting tragedy occurred in Connecticut. It was in obvious poor taste to air the episode and showcase a gun-toting Santa just days after the terrible event. Fox not only pulled the episode from the schedule, but waited a whole year before premiering it, this time in December of season 10. Watching American Dad reruns on TBS comes with many differences than watching newer season episodes which premiere on TBS. The cable network gives the show a little more freedom. One of the more obvious things are the extra curse words the show can get away with. You'll definitely hear a lot more language as opposed to loud beeps while watching. While the show doesn't get too crazy with the cable regulations, there are a few more subtle details you may notice visually. And one of these has to do with showing a little cartoon skin. For the newly released TBS episodes, the characters are able to show a little more skin. Bikinis are drawn smaller, shorts are shorter, and dress shirts can be unbuttoned a few more inches. And above all, TBS has allowed the animators to showcase a little side boob. Does this enhance the show or comedy in any way? Probably not, but still something interesting to notice. The opening and closing credits of an animated show are the perfect place to start new trends and habits. There's Bart's chalkboard gag, The Simpsons couch gag, American Dad's newspaper gag, and of course the Roger outfit gag in later seasons. At the end of every American Dad episode, we also see a short credits screen for Underdog Productions. In the clip, a security guard says goodbye in a variety of different ways, and all of them are pretty similar. Turns out the man is not an actor or a part of any type of gag. The footage was shot at the actual Underdog Productions, and he is a real security guard named Pina. And even though he no longer works there, the clip is used on every episode and has become a trademark ending to the show. American Dad has gone through a lot of craziness over the years. It was set up to become the replacement for the then canceled Family Guy. Then Family Guy came back. It was supposed to be pulled off the air, until TBS saved the show and allowed it to live on. The Fox animation block has gone through a number of shows over the years, but American Dad has continued to thrive, and it may be all because of its premiere. The show's first episode had one of the most coveted spots in all of television, the episode airing directly after the Super Bowl. Well, almost directly after. First, The Simpsons got a post-Super Bowl episode, and then American Dad premiered. Well, the spot definitely helped. Either people tuned into the episode or accidentally left their TVs on. Either way, it proved to be the position it needed to introduce the Smiths to all of America and create an animated hit. It's always weird when you see voice actors perform their characters in person and not seeing the animated versions on screen. Well, if you've ever had a chance to attend the American Dad panel at the San Diego Comic-Con, then you didn't just get to hear cast members do quotes or lines. They actually performed a whole script read-through. And even without the colorful visuals and sight gags, the comedy holds up. As Seth Macfarlane developed his voice for the cartoon alien Roger, he turned one of the more obscure voice references on the show. Roger acts and sounds just like former comedian Paul Lynde. Paul appeared on shows like Bewitched and The Munsters, but his claim to fame comes from the game show Hollywood Squares, where he was often featured as the center square. His flamboyant nature and ability to quickly zing others shines right through Roger.
Is that why Catherine Kuhlman slurs her words?
For years, shows like The Simpsons and South Park have collected a variety of awards and nominations. American Dad went several years without even a nomination on big award shows like Primetime Emmys. For the voice cast, one of the first big nominations came to Sir Patrick Stewart in 2013. He was nominated for a BTVA Television Voice Acting Award, and in recent years, the rest of the cast is finally starting to get recognized. When it comes to death and violence, animated shows for adults can often get away with a lot more than a typical live-action sitcom. The violence is increased, and deaths are taken a little more lightly, especially when characters can just get redrawn again. This is also exactly what you would expect with the show following a CIA operative, who always finds himself on special missions. Well, this wasn't the case for Stan. In the first 3 seasons, we didn't see Stan kill a single person, and in season 4, we found out that Stan didn't kill anyone off-screen either. Once he finally does get a kill in, the show goes off and running, with his kill count seeming to only increase each season. Relationships with mothers are always complicated, especially with young boys going through a lot of life changes. In the case of American Dad, we cannot help but compare Steve's relationship with his mother to Stewie's relationship with his own on Family Guy. Stewie ultimately wants to kill Lois, often berates her, and has many plans for violence and destruction. Steve is pretty much the opposite. He has strong affections for his mother, often a little too strong. In conversation about names, he stated his favorite is Francine, his own mother's name. And the small but ambiguous quotes didn't end there. Who can forget the classic line, "If she wasn't my mama"? Let's just hope he never finishes that thought. Besides the main Smith family, American Dad is filled with all kinds of supporting character who help bring the show to life. One of the couples we frequently see on the show is the married gay couple Greg and Terry. The couple have been featured in numerous episodes and also are a part of the new seasons on TBS. But if you've noticed the former couple recently, Terry may seem a little more quiet. The reason? American Dad creator Mike Barker left the show and TBS picked it up, and he also provided the voice for Terry. So until Terry gets recast, he will likely remain off the show and out of Greg's life for good. Klaus is not an ordinary talking fish. There's no magical powers here, just pure old scientific brain swapping. Klaus used to be a human and had his brain transferred into the body of a fish. Well, the lifespan of a goldfish isn't obviously the same as a human, and despite looking pretty much the same all the time, Klaus doesn't always have the same fish body. On screen, we've seen Klaus have his brain transferred into various bodies only to return back into the body of a fish by the end of the episode. Naturally, they would use a new fish each time. And off-screen, who knows how many times the Smith family has visited the pet store to purchase a replacement goldfish. The brain may be the same, but the body is definitely different. Everyone loves a good Disney or Pixar Easter egg, but American Dad can get in on the mix as well. One of the classic Easter eggs used in these movies is the use of A113. The letter and number combination refers to the animation classroom at the California Institute of Arts. Dozens of animators have gone through the school and repaid their dues by honoring the room where many got their start. American Dad Animators gets in on the mix as well. In the season 14 episode, Camp Campawanda, a parked dune buggy features a license plate with the A113 on it. It has also been spotted on other vehicles and modes of transportation like trains. Over the years, American Dad has paid homages to all types of pop culture movies, TV shows, and music. Some of the references are in your face, while others are a little more subtle, like in the episode Virtual Insanity. The episode acts as a fun and subtle Buffy the Vampire Slayer reunion. Sarah Michelle Gellar voices an android robot in the episode, while former Willow portrayer Allison Hannigan plays one of Steve's classmates. And that's not the only episode either. David Boreanaz provided his voice for the episode Less Money, Mo Problems. Like many animated shows, the characters on American Dad pretty much stay the status quo. The characters don't age, keep the same looks, and stay within the same routines. Well, if you paid attention to the little details, then you would notice a huge age jump that was completely unexpected. When Toshi's younger sister Akiko first appeared on the show in season 2, she looked like she was no more than 6 or 7 years old. A few seasons later, she returned for Wiener of Our Discontent, appearing much older and closer to age to both Steve and Toshi. The character change definitely helped create more storylines, but was odd to see on an animated show. Things got a little crazy in episode Surrogate, where Francine agrees to carry Terry and Greg's baby while keeping the news from Stan. Of course, Stan's views create a lot of chaos as he steals the baby after she's born, names her Liberty Bell, and tries to adopt it to a non-gay couple in Nebraska. The even crazier part is the aftermath of the whole thing. Stan learns how wrong he was and returns the baby, as we see Terry and Greg raise her. Throughout multiple episodes, we see the little baby and hear them call her Libby. Yep, Liberty Bell has just been shortened to Libby. So Terry and Greg essentially took the name their baby's kidnapper gave and just went with it. Every time they say the name, they must be reminded of the horrible situation they were put in. American Dad has no shortage of broad comedy and great jokes, but the subtle details are what helps make viewers connect to the show. This is how longtime viewers can follow the Smith family health history through various episodes. Let's start with Haley. There's no denying it. She has herpes. Multiple exes have mentioned the disease, and she even confirmed an outbreak of it in the episode Kung Pao Turkey. Health issues also impact her father, Stan. His is not so normal. He has literally blown out his anus multiple times. Not only have we seen it on screen, but we've heard him warn his past self in the time-traveling episode, The Kidney Stays in the Picture. Time to book a few extra doctor appointments from the Smith family. Ever since American Dad premiered, it's felt like a Family Guy spin-off, and basically another Seth Macfarlane creation. He voices two of the main characters, sings the theme song, has an executive producer credit, and is often mentioned in conjunction with the show. His sister Rachel even voices Haley. But the truth of the matter is, Seth definitely provides a lot of the vocal talents, but it pretty much stops there. He may be the face and voice behind the show, but he is not the creative force behind American Dad. To casual audiences, Macfarlane gets a lot of the credit, but he pretty much just shows up for work. The credit for creation of the show goes directly to Mike Barker and Matt Weitzman. Macfarlane's name helped get the show greenlit, but Barker and Weitzman took over from there.
What is all the racket in here? Stick! No!
Not even Stan and the CIA could have covered up these American Dad secrets. Are there any we missed? What was the craziest fact you never knew? Let us know in the comment section below. And don't forget to subscribe to ScreenRant for more great content.